Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. Today I'm going to talk about some books that I've decided to just let go of. I have been looking at my stacks of books and realized I sort of have maybe four categories of books that are waiting to be read. I have those that I'm really excited to read. I have those that I think I'm going to be excited to, I'm a little bit middling about, but people have recommended. I have those that have just lingered and lingered I've kind of forgotten why they're on the shelf. And then I have the ones that people have told me I need to read because they're good for me. And I'm paraphrasing there. Cleo Bell is a little bit frustrated this morning. It's a beautiful day out and nobody wants to take her outside. And it's aw, poor baby. So I don't know, she's got that look in her eyes, something bad's gonna happen. I don't know what it'll be. So I've purged. I've decided, not only to purge physically, but to purge mentally. I've decided that the state of my health is too much to be reading a book that I'm just not enjoying. So I'm Xing books that have people being harmed because of really thoughtless, careless adults. I'm getting rid of books that have environmental or societal situations that are just sort of beyond the character's capacity to be able to change, like a world pandemic. And I think I'm just going to get rid of books that people feel we should read because the author or their geography or those are they're the sort of the new gotta read it because we have to be conscious. Now, so I should caveat that a little bit because I am very careful about making sure that I keep my world broadened, but I have a pretty broad world. I volunteer at a homeless shelter, so I see the full gamut of humanity at the bottom of the stairs. Alcoholics, addicts, women with pregnancies they want, women with pregnancies they've lost. I mean, the world of the homeless encounters so many downtrodden people, and just don't need that in my one realm of escapism. I think that in my work through the Quakers that I belong to, and just the students that I meet through Steve's professional life, I just feel like I'm encountering a lot of these things as part of my everydayness. And so sure enough, I need to be, brought up to speed in terms of contemporary thinking. But I can generally get that just by talking to people or reading a nonfiction book or watching a documentary. I don't feel like I'm frozen in ignorance, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And there are a lot of avenues for me to continue to explore and be curious. But I really need my reading time to be a place where it's safe to go and it's nourishing and it ferments my imagination. I'm a fairly creative person, and so to be continually brought down by the tragedies of others in everywhere I go, it's just not the right place for a creative mind to go. I have my own interior demons that I can, talk to from time to time if I'm looking for tragedy. So with that in mind, I've decided to just stop those kinds of books. So I'm going to start with the first book, which was I was really curious about this one. It's The Sea Cloak and Other Stories by Nowruz Quermout. And this woman comes from Gaza, and she's written a number of stories about what it's like to live in the Gaza war zone. And I bought it. No, I didn't buy it. I recommended it to one of my book club gals, having not read it. And she bought it, read it, and said, it's just not very well written. And I thought, there are a lot of well-told stories. Just because it's a female author in the Gaza does not mean it's necessarily a good book. And I'm going to stick with this. I get a lot of pushback on it, but especially My kids and my husband push back on it, but I keep saying it's just, I don't need another improving moment in my life. So good for her that she was able to get this published, and hopefully by that process, she's going to learn how to tell a story better. Okay, the other one, I belong to Aaron and Danny's book club, and I wish I joined it last year because they did the whole year was based on Louise Erdrich, and I love her writing. This year, the whole year is on memoir, which is not my favorite genre to begin with, but it's Native writers from across, I think mostly North America. I don't think there are any from, the Sami of Russia or the Aboriginals from Australia. I think, not positive about that. So this is In My Own Moccasins by Helen Knott, a memoir of resilience. It's a really good book. I just don't want to go there because within the first 10 pages, she's talking about looking at her son while she's lying on, here it is. I sat listlessly on the couch as my son and youngest brother went for an overnight visit at one of my aunties. That's when the addict in me started to wail on the walls of my flesh and began rattling my bones. And oh, fuck. Sorry. I don't. All right, this one is part of my YA book club for April. It's actually, I think we're supposed to do something with it next week. It is Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. It's apparently required reading, according to Toni Morrison. And this is a book that, did I say who it was by? Ta-Nehisi Coates, yes, sorry. So, nonfiction, and this is part of a book club kit, so it comes with all kinds of questions that the book club can consider if they can't come up with their own. So it's a really great program. You can go to the library and there are certain books that they have created kits for. So there's biographies of the author and questions and enough books in the bag that your whole book club can get it all as a lump, and you don't have to worry about this whole jogging of people trying to get their books on time. So it's a very nice little service. But this is a book about the American history and Coates' attempt to answer the questions in a letter to his adolescent son. Yeah, it's just, again, it's just sadness and despair and tribulations, and I don't know. I don't care. I've said it before. I can't go there right now. Now this one is, Allie Smith, How to Be Both. It's also for one of my book clubs. It's long-listed for the Man Booker Prize in 2014, and it's about art's versatility, and I should love it. Two tales of love and injustice twist into a singular yarn where time gets timeless, and it's a bit too esoteric and political, and the characters aren't very well developed, and there's also some sort of nouveau published, what's that called? It's like playing around with punctuation and so forth, and so I'm never quite sure whether we're in a paragraph of dialogue or a paragraph of description, and that just irritates me. It irritates me. I'm sorry, what can I say? So I don't have any idea how good this book is, but again, it's just about people being sad and unhappy and being mean to each other, and I'm just not going to read it. I'm going to tell my book club fellows that, can we do something happy once in a while? The Diviners by Libba Bray is a book that's been on my pile for ages. I think it's been on and off the staircase probably 4 times before I finally got to it, and I did get halfway through. This is fiction, and Libba Bray I do love, and this series I realized halfway through I thought, why am I not enjoying it? And well, I think I must have stopped. I don't know why it's so big. That's just 200 pages, so there's very wide margins and lots of spacing, so it seems like a huge book. I think if it was printed differently, it wouldn't be coming in as such a giant, but it's almost 600 pages. I just couldn't get into the characters. The main characters have got some sort of divining capacity, and there's an entity that has re-entered the world. It's an evil entity, and this entity is murdering, and there's some sort of prophecy attached to this that they've discovered fairly early on in the story. The good guys have, and when the entity commits its murders, it is so bloody gruesome that all I can think of is the last murder, and because there are 11 or 12 prophecies, we still have 7 more murders to go, and they're going to be horrific. And so however much I start to like the characters, or which I haven't really bonded to, I just keep thinking about what horror is coming next, and it's graphic, and I'm just not there for it right today. And you know, there's every kind of thing is good in this book in terms of, it's in the 1920s, love it. It's in New York and Manhattan, love it. It's sort of speakeasies and the highfalutin world and the really struggling to survive world, love it. There's nothing in the setting that doesn't intrigue me. The fact that the characters have got this sort of divination type of supernatural connection. It's not magic. It's sort of an extension of intuition, I guess. I love that, but the characters just aren't really fully developed. They've got their thing that they do. They're all in denial, and so they're not actually doing it. And there's 600 pages of people not really doing what they're supposed to be doing and to get rid of this entity. And it's only the first book. There's 2 more to go. And I'm thinking, no, if you can't capture me by, halfway through, then there's no way I'm going to read book 2 and 3. I don't want to read this as a standalone because it's just, I know we're not going to have any kind of resolution. So, oh, Libby Bray, too bad. I've read other books of hers and really enjoyed them. So that's my kind of little ranty, panty thing. I just don't need my reading to be frivolous, and I don't need it to be saccharine. That's awful in its own direction. But I just need to have some kind of story. I need to have some kind of plot. I need to have some kind of depth of character. And the character has to do more than grow through tragedy, because there are so many other components in our lives that run alongside tragedy. People still laugh at funerals. People still, cry at weddings. We have all these kind of life events that happen where there's a gamut of emotion. And so to be completely buried in somebody's anxiety or grief or struggles with addiction is just, there's got to be more to that storyline. And the other thing I would like, and it's not very prevalent in a lot of contemporary stories, is setting. So many good stories take place, I don't know how many years ago. I'm not a good historian when it comes to trends in books, but I feel like we're losing setting. We might be in an apartment building, but what color's the elevator? Is there a doorman? Isn't there a doorman? Is it right on the street? Is it close to a park? I mean, we can still have contemporary setting in a bustling city. Do you take the subway or do you get the tram? Like, how do you get from the apartment building where you're really building up the energy to go and shout at your boss? Did anything happen? What's the boss wearing? Does he have a dog? It's like, give me a little bit more to have this story reverberate. And I guess that's the other piece I'm looking for, is some reverberation. And they're doing a lot of construction in our neighborhood. There's a lot of drilling and blasting, so I don't need that kind of reverberation. Just the reverberation of a good story, a good character, and let me improve myself when I'm ready. That's it for me today. I've got, blah, 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 blah. I hope all your reading adventures and dreams continue to come true. And that's the whole point of this, isn't it? Is that our reading adventures and dreams do come true. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.